So there's people that are just dropping in and they don't quite know what's going on. And then there's people who practice a lot, and they know exactly the background of the practice, and you're trying to teach the middle. You're trying to teach in a way where they can all participate together and enjoy and benefit from it, right? And that's the compromise of working in an industry. You know, you're working in an industry where you have to service the people that come to the door, and the door is open to everybody. So in those studios, they focus, in my opinion, too much on the physical part, but it's their prerogative if they want to do that. And I've also seen that a lot of people started out just going in and doing a physical practice, and over time became more aware of the history and the culture behind the practice and have engaged with that part of it more. If you just teach a simple meditation, a simple breath practice, and movement together, the benefits are inherent. The students will understand that this is good for them just from doing a basic practice. You don't necessarily need to explain the whole context. You also don't need to say esoteric prayer, right? Where you're using words from another language that you don't speak as your mother tongue, or that is inauthentic to you. Sometimes to teach a subject, you have to have an authentic connection with the students. How are you going to do that if you are being inauthentic at a really fundamental level? The industry is not very well regulated. You know, you could get a yoga teacher training in 200 hours, right? So you go for 1 month, you come out, and then suddenly you go in and then you're trying to get somebody to say a prayer in Sanskrit at their noontime lunch hour class. For instance, I used to work in Vancouver. I remember I went to a morning class for this teacher, and she was like, da 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 da. So this thing happened to me this morning, blah blah blah. It just goes to show you, homeless people are people too. And like in my head, I was like, well, I already knew that, but now I know that you just realized that this morning, you psycho, you know, like I don't want that person facilitating a prayer or some kind of spiritual shit for me. I don't, you know, I want that to be a personal thing. I don't mind practicing in a group. And if there's a meditation or breath work or whatever, I can hold that in my own, I can experience that my own way. But I don't really want to have somebody holding my hand and bringing me along a really personal and intimate thing like a prayer or things like this. And, you know, so it's touchy, the spiritual part. And I understand why people exclude it to an extent, although I choose to include it, you know. Yeah. That's good for today.